This week has the introduction of patch 9.13, which brings Kiana into the pool. With the playoff race heating up, though, we'll see how she affects the meta going into the waning weeks of the regular season. Game 1 has TSM looking to jump back into the tie for first as they face off against Clutch Gaming. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we look at the changes on patch 9.13 and take a look at the LCS traffic report until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champion Select. Now, the Summer Finals presented by Rocket Mortgage is fast approaching, and because a number of fans reached out about missing their opportunity to sign up for Verified Fan, the LCS has moved up the general sale of tickets to Thursday, July 18th. So be at the ready on the 18th, and we'll see you at the Little Caesars Arena on Saturday, August 24th and Sunday, August 25th. For more information, go to riot.com/Detroit. Now, the weekend gets rolling with TSM facing off against Clutch Gaming. Then it's a battle for first place between Team Liquid and Counter Logic Gaming, with 2 more matches before we wrap things up with Optic Gaming versus 100 Thieves. Earlier, though, Acadian shared the pressures of this split and how competing for the starting spot has affected his summer.
There's no way to get around comparing yourself constantly to the other guy, how he's doing in scrims, how he's doing on stage, and then constantly beating yourself up for every mistake. Like, for me, at least the whole year, I don't play well when I feel like I can't make any mistakes. Like, I need to feel like I'm free to play the game normally and do what I think is best, because I'm one of those, I think I'm a player that has a gift for, like, I see a really good engage, something that a lot of people wouldn't do, and I just do it, and I need to have the confidence or, like, feel free enough to be able to look for that play. Even though there's a chance it might fail, it can be really good, and I do a lot of things like that. So I think that affected that part of my play mostly. I was playing way more, like, rigid and trying to not... I was playing not to lose instead of playing to win. This split was probably harder to get through the days for a while, but it's okay. I mean, I'm proud of myself for, like, sticking through it, and then also, in my opinion, like, I overcame the whole situation really hard, and I think I guess we lost today, but I think I'm playing really well.
Now, despite suffering a loss on Sunday to CLG, the TSM squad seemed positive about the trajectory of their team, even if not reaping the intended results just yet.
Yeah, I think it's, this Twitter PR attack happened after their game against CLG where they finally lost them, but they were still super positive and proud of how they were playing, and I think that kind of ties into what Acadian was talking about in terms of feeling free to make mistakes. And, like, yeah, they made a lot of mistakes in that game, but they were also really positive about the takeaways.
I mean, yes, it's that fear of not wanting to make a mistake that keeps you frozen, leads to indecisiveness. You waste the 2 seconds or the window of opportunity that he can identify,
right,
goes for it anyways, and then it fails because of that hesitation. So confidence is how you shrink that time from I see it to doing it.
Right, and exactly. If he calls himself out as a player who sees those moments, you would instead want to kind of exemplify that, create situations or an environment where he feels comfortable taking those chances.
Especially with a draft like that. They received so much criticism because it was such a weird draft, but it's what they want to be moving towards. They talked about being more proactive like they were in spring, combined with some of the lessons from Rift Rivals where there's more creativity. That's what this draft was, and it's cool to see everyone kind of walking away as a team together like, we liked it, we loved all of it, we just lost.
I want to hold them accountable to it, though. I want to make sure they stick to it, and it wasn't just like, oh, we tried this week, and yes, guys, it was really nice, and then we're back again, and we forgot that they tweeted it out. Like, no, you've committed to it. Let's see it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Love the changes TSM has been making, hoping that the results soon follow. We'll see how it matches up against Clutch, who've been trying things of these types, this kind of aggressive compositions Clutch has been throwing out onto the Rift for weeks now.
It was wild for Clutch. I mean, if TSM's was wild, this one was next level, because they put Cody's son on Zed mid lane, and then gave us Huni's old Cassiopeia back into the top. Now, it didn't look like his greatest Cassiopeia game, but it's still something positive for Clutch Gaming because their coaching staff, now you don't have Max Scrag, and Artemis moved up to Academy, and we know for a fact from yesterday speaking with the Academy players, the Academy coach is not there. They're just on their own, so it's all eggs on the LCS basket.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see what that can hopefully bring for them, because of the teams who are outside the playoff picture right now, it feels like they have one of the strongest identities. It's one of the most volatile identities, but at least they have creative picks and they play aggressively.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to see Cody's son mid lane, but they at least pose a unique problem to every team in the league when you play against them, where they have all these weird counter picks that they can break out.
Without a doubt. And as you mentioned, Academy, Clutch was one of the teams to pull out the Kiana. As we mentioned, 913 introduces Kiana to the lineup, and they found great success with her in the mid lane.
Here's a warning. Every single person ever has found success with Kiana.
11-0, baby.
Pro play, people. Pick Kiana today if you want to win.
Stand by for that patch discussion coming in just a bit. We are stepping away, but on the other side, we send the LCS Traffic Copter to get a look at the race to playoffs. And as we go, here's a look at this week's mic check, which zeroes in on the historic clash between CLG and TSM.
Just be calm, guys. Let's have conversations. Let them feel the pressure.
I'm looking for Sivir.
There are several.
Yeah, I can go Sivir.
Yeah, look for it.
Ult
Sivir no flash, Sivir no flash.
Sivir no flash. Kill him. Can we kill Sivir?
Yeah, I flash.
I'm ulting.
Okay, Corgi's coming.
Can we still do something?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have TP in 17.
3 seconds.
Just Min's getting top guys.
Can the split. Go for Ken.
He has no ulti.
Yeah.
No flash.
So.
Can we? I have TP in 3.
Nice, good job, guys.
Keep going. I'll TP.
Innate.
2 and W.
I can kill.
Can you stun him?
No,
I can TP.
I got him.
Okay, I'm gonna push mid.
Bros. Love you guys. Look, they might go in mid.
Watch Kennen. This is bad angle from us.
Yes, I can push mid here.
No flash Gragas.
Yeah, care.
Watch Kennen over the wall.
Gragas.
Care over the wall.
Kennen. Nice. Go mid.
Mid lane.
Look. We're going. Okay.
I can't go. No,
Care Kennen.
Cut back.
Care Kennen. Oh. Watch Kennen. I can't go.
I can't fight
Yo,
there.
I cannot go. It's all min.
Okay, what's next?
I think it's just team fights right now and playing through Kennen's priority, honestly.
Yeah.
If we want to fight, we should engage first.
Yeah, yo, look here. Look.
I'm around. Yeah.
Going. Go. Serve flash.
TP. Go get TP.
Yeah, they have Aatrox.
Aatrox
reset. Corgi no flash.
Yep.
Turn.
We're gonna Aatrox.
Nice. Huge, by the way.
Wait, I think we should just get top here. It's just you.
Yeah. I can come. Darwin could be.
Good job.
Oh, okay.
Love blade, right?
I can do it here.
I'm running.
I'm coming.
Can you
Darwin
heal
flash?
yourself one more time?
Yeah, I'm coming. I'll be here in like 10 seconds, right?
10 seconds.
He got him.
Just try to. I've Ian.
Yeah. You can go. Get his ass, boys.
Yo, start ban.
Yeah, he's buffing.
Yeah. Base.
Okay, basing.
We look for a fight. This is the best way to stop that Baron is if we can fight them.
They're just sitting here. 100%. I can blue, actually. Oh, hey, guys.
I'm gonna go.
Bottom range banning here.
This is bad. Oh,
Look.
I think this is okay, by the way.
I'm gonna try to give you
Look, Silas.
I can go in mid.
Silver's so top. We need to go. No, we're fighting. We can't get out.
Okay.
We win.
We win. Just kill them all.
Kill him.
Hey, guys.
Let's stay mid game.
Okay, good job, guys. We broke the 1,000 days, baby.
And for the first time in 1,176 days, TSM's Nexus will fall to CLG.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where Game 1 has Clutch Gaming facing off against TSM. If we turn to the standings, though, we do have that three-way tie for first between Cloud9, Counterlogic Gaming, and Team Liquid. Then in fourth, it's Optic Gaming and TSM at 6 and 4, with Golden Guardians currently holding the line at 6th. As with everything in Los Angeles, though, there's some congestion at the top of the standings, so we've got Mark on standby for the LCS Traffic Report.
Things are starting to look a little backed up out there, specifically at the 405 interchange, where TSM has gotten a flat tire after their Week 6 loss to CLG. Now, this wouldn't normally be alarming, but it's right around the same place. Optic seems to be losing some momentum, which is a good indicator they're running low on gas and just causing some extra congestion. Meanwhile, on the east side, 10 East, Clutch Gaming seems to be going the wrong way after a 3-game losing streak. Now, this is a cause for concern because they're about to hit some construction with the coaching staff changes, so we'll have to see if they can pull off the U-turn. Now, just a reminder for you drivers out there this weekend, do your part to avoid traffic jams. Slower moving teams, make sure you go all the way off the highway. Just pull completely off, not just into the right lane, to make room for more teams like FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, who are finally starting to pick up some speed.
I'm sorry, Mark. I gotta have to cut you off there. We are sending it out to Riv right now in the LCS Traffic Copter for some breaking news. Riv, please, fill us in.
We're following Cloud9, Team Liquid, and CLG, who are locked in a high-speed chase for first place. This is a dynamic situation, but so far we have seen teams exceeding speeds of 33-minute victories. It's not clear who's going to pull away, as the three have been running at a dead heat. We'll keep our eyes in the sky and report as the situation evolves.
Thank you, Riv. We will keep an eye on that race for first, but I want to turn to the road to Detroit, presented by Rocket Mortgage. Now, as we know, the first step on the road to Detroit is securing your spot in the postseason. So we're looking at the top 6. And of those top 6, Golden Guardians currently hold the line in 6th place position. Let's talk about this squad as they look to secure it.
I think it's pretty interesting what's happening with them recently, given that they felt kind of locked in for the first 3.5 weeks, and they started having these troubles, and then they swapped their bot lane out with Huhi and FBI coming in. Huhi's looked great, but they haven't necessarily found a 2-0 weekend or anything like that, and there's still some concerns around them. And for me, they're the team I'm looking at of the top 6 to potentially get overtaken with some of the other things happening in the league. I want to see more out of their bot lane. They've only been playing this aggressive style, and that kind of telegraphs where your ganks are often going to go and those kinds of things.
I don't even care about the bottom lane. I think that they're doing fine. I want to see the jungle impact the lanes a little bit better because right now, 9-13, new patch roll around. Sejuani's no longer the best jungler. You got Sylas. You got to play Sylas, people. And contracts so far seems a little bit hit or miss. I want to see him be a little bit more involved with the lanes. It's not so much the Froggen show. It has to work as a team if they are to stay in the 6th place because everybody else wants to take their spot because they're the closest one. So you might as well, as long as you beat Golden Guardians, you're in.
On joining the LCS contracts was known as one of the more aggressive junglers. Yeah. We'll see if he can kind of return to that form with the introduction of Sylas to the jungle here on 9-13. Mark, you mentioned that you're looking at Golden Guardians as perhaps the team that would be most likely to fall out of the top 6. They are, of course, occupying that 6th place spot. Just above them, though, only one win above them is both TSM and Optic Gaming. How do you feel about those squads' prospects? Are either of them in danger, really, of falling out?
I don't think so. I think that those teams are pretty set in then making it to the playoffs. Now, whether they go to semis or beyond, I'm not sure. But right now, jungle focus is a huge deal. I'm always going to count on Meteos. And as long as TSM can figure out what's going on with the jungle, they're going to be fine because they keep messing around with it. But it's going to have to come to a stop now.
Yeah, and they have so many talented players around for TSM. I have a hard time seeing them dropping out of playoffs. Optic is a little closer, but they have such a defined play style, it feels like, with the importance of Meteos and Crown tag teaming together through most of the game. Like, that feels pretty consistent.
Okay, so the consistency there might keep them just above the line. But now let's look at the 4 teams that are looking to make their push into the postseason. Let's start with 100 Thieves, one of our teams who's been recently on the rise.
This is where it gets juicy for me. I like what I'm seeing out of 100 Thieves because it's working well for them in Academy as well. Remember, this team is kind of messing around with LCS players in Academy, seeing what works. It's working on both teams, and Ryu in the mid lane being very consistent for everybody, and it allows Amazing and Afremu to team up and start getting leads on their own and snowballing games. The problem is the laning is not that great for this team. They're not finding the leads that they need to. When they get the gold, yeah, they can win, but they need to really make sure that their mechanics are there, and hopefully with the new patch, maybe Amazing can pick up a few extra picks and get some leads on his own.
Yeah, I mean, that was the interesting stat. You know, they've halved their goal difference from what it used to be. It was negative 4,000 at 15. Now it's negative, roughly 2,000.
Right.
Which is a big improvement. It's why they've picked up some wins, but I'm still a little hesitant about when you start going up against these other teams that you can actually consistently find enough wins when you're always kind of starting on the back foot.
Right, every game can't be a comeback victory. Right. At some point, you got to be.
Why not? Why not?
All right, you know what? Fair enough. You got me there. FlyQuest, this is a squad that finished 4th in the spring split, had high hopes and expectations coming into summer. They have struggled, but again, recently found a few wins.
And I think the Wadid transition is really important for me because he's such a positive, uplifting guy. You've been struggling for so long. They look super down. To see him come in, hopefully breathe in a new breath of fresh air to this team, as well as having that Rift Rivals break to kind of figure themselves out. They looked very impressive last week. And given that they were 4th just 1 split ago, I think this is a team that actually can recover and find their way back into playoffs.
Wow. Do you align there? Or between 100 Thieves and FlyQuest?
They have the same record. They have the same record.
Same record.
So it's really
so
hard.
Between the two, which one would you put your money on then?
I'm broke. I got no money to put on anyone.
All right, put your pride on one.
Yeah,
you still have your pride.
You guys are screwed.
I mean, I would probably go with 100 Thieves right now because 100 Thieves is complete X factor. Like, you don't know what is going to come out of this team. Whereas FlyQuest, I think you are a little bit more defined. You already have Viper. You know what Pobelter does. You know what Wild Turtle and Wadid are going to do in the bottom lane. Centauran as well. So because they're more telegraphed, I find it harder to see this team surprising teams and then climbing up to 6th place.
Back half of the split, each and every game is all that much more important.
Also, forgot to add, I think people underestimate 100 Thieves way more than FlyQuest too, which adds to the likelihood that they make it in.
That might be a valid point.
I think that's probably fair. Both of them are dark horses. If I had to pick my dark horse, though, it would be FlyQuest just because I value how recently you were good. 100 Thieves has been a long while,
been a bit.
And they still have that consistency problem. FlyQuest were a really good team-fighting team just a couple months ago. I think they can get back there.
8 games left to make it happen. We'll see which of our teams can do it. We are taking a quick break. When we return, we look at how 9-13 might affect pro play, especially with the addition of Kiana. As we go to commercial, though, we sent star PA, Joel, to hear from the fans heading into the playoff race.
All right, I'm here with JJ. JJ's going to enlighten us and tell us who the dark horse playoff team this season is going to be.
I think it's going to be 100 Thieves or FlyQuest. And 100 Thieves is looking a little bit better, though.
I think it's FlyQuest. I think Viper and Centauran can bring him back, for sure.
100 Thieves, Bang, 2-time world champion. He can do it. Guarantee he can make it into playoffs at the very least, if not go farther. 100 Thieves.
What about their uniforms? Do you think they're better?
Yes. Their uniforms are
Fashion wins. What about Someday? I mean, Bang is good, but Someday's pretty good, too. You think Bang is that much better than Someday?
Someday's doing really well in Academy, and for now, I think Fake God's holding his own. So yeah, Bang can carry. Someday, let's keep him in the Academy for now.
All right, Bang, you heard it. Don't disappoint my man Matthew over here.
It's going to be Golden Guardians. They're right at the middle of the standings. They're at that cusp between losing the whole thing and also winning the whole thing.
Chris, who do you think is the dark horse pick for this split?
To be honest, I hate to say it, but it's got to be TSM.
I'm going to go with FlyQuest.
I wish that they would just let Bjergsen carry them. Please, God, let Bjergsen carry you.
So you're saying everyone is gonna screw it up and FlyQuest is just gonna coast?
Yeah, they're gonna pick it up. FlyQuest is gonna coast.
Coasting, flying, FlyQuest.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where Game 1 is just moments away. Before we jump into Clutch versus TSM, pros are competing on patch 9-13, which brings a new champion, Kiana, into the mix, who, despite mixed results in solo queue, has gotten a lot of attention from pro players at the top of the ladder.
Results are not mixed. The answers are clear.
Not
like
pro
we
play.
said earlier, 11-0 in international play, people. You gotta play Kiana. I don't care if you haven't scrimmed it. I really don't. You play Kiana, okay? It'll win you today. Forget what your coach said, players. Literally lock it in. First rotation. You're gonna win, and then you're gonna get a promotion.
I mean, the thing that confuses a lot of people is that triple element that they're showing where there's grass and there's water and there's wall. But when you really break down what her kit does, it's actually not super complicated in terms of, as long as you understand how to get the refresh on your Q from using your W well, you basically do 2 rotations of Q and press all your buttons and all in them. It's not as complicated as something like a Sylas, so I think a lot of people could actually break it out pretty quickly here today.
She's like Sona, where you initially like, whoa, look at all the colors and things she does, and then you realize, oh, it's that every time. Yeah. That's Kiana right now.
I think
you win, people.
The risk with her is that she is an assassin, right? So low health pool, she can get exploded if you don't pilot her intelligently. But aside from that, high damage output, some good CC, and some interesting ways to interact with people based on.
That's like saying you're facing a risk of piloting an automatic car. Like, yeah, sure, like it does most of the work for you. You pick Kiana, it's gonna take you there. You don't have to do a whole lot.
She's not that brain dead.
Yeah, 11-0. That's crazy.
I'm about
on
to go
one day.
home and play some Kiana. I'll be challenged by this evening. Thank you, Crumbs. Okay, important to note that here in North America, Mord will remain disabled. You may have seen him in pro play in other regions. Not available this week for pro play.
Something else that you weren't seeing in NA already, Pyke, he's gone from other regions as well. He's got nerfed really hard.
Yep.
We didn't want to see him as North America. We didn't play him well, so now there's just even more reason to not want to play him.
Fantastic. Other notable changes, Sylas got a big buff. You were already kind of talking about it in the jungle.
Huge. Sylas right now, S-tier jungler. In Academy yesterday, he was picked in pretty much every match against Sejuani, because what's better than Trundle against Sejuani? Just take Sejuani's own ultimate. That's pretty much it. So you have a Sejuani answer, and Wiggly specifically was the one that brought it to NA for the first time, so that gives me a lot of faith for CLG this week. But really, first pick this jungler, super busted as well, and it's really not that hard to play. You gotta play Silas if you're jungling right now. If you don't, what are you doing?
He showed up big on that pick for CLG. Lastly, I want to take a look at Alawi up there in the top lane. Received a whole slew of changes to her kit. Mark, help us out.
I one tricked her a little bit. It's hard to explain all of them, but a lot of it was focused on her tentacles. They attacked more often, as low as 4 seconds between attacks when it used to be just 10. She also gets an extra tentacle when she ults. There's an AP ratio on them now if you find some of that in one of your build passes, as well as the fact that her spirit, when you pull it now, if you attack her, it does not reduce the duration that it's available. So that used to be a weird way you could kind of counterplay her. The upside is that when you're made into a vessel, it doesn't last as long. But with how the tentacles attack now, it's a lot more aggressive of a time period when you are afflicted, and then it wears off faster, so it's not quite as annoying. But I think she's super strong. She wins a lot of melee matchups, and I think she's a really great, put her on the weak side by herself, just ignore her and let her 1v2 people because she's super hard to gank, and just leave her there and put your pressure elsewhere.
So is this the kind of champion that, say, a fake god should be playing? Like, he memes about it, lose lane, win game, but very much like, hey, I can be comfortable on an island then with this champion?
You should be on an island, but you should be winning lane. This is like a Huni champ to me or something, where like you really want to slam the other guy once you see a melee matchup that you think you can win. I'm not 100% sure about Aatrox because I haven't tested that one, but it wins a lot of general melee matchups, and then you just don't need to gank for it because it does its own thing.
Fair enough. Get dove.
You're going to get dove.
You want to get
dove. You want that
people
guy
to
jumping at you.
Yeah, great counter engage.
Alt.
All right, well, before we jump into predictions, let's get a reminder of where you invested in the LCS stock market. To take a look, Mark, you threw all your money behind Optic Gaming. I don't think it's done anything amazing for you just yet.
Look at this.
Team Liquid for crumbs, much more of the same with the 1-in-1 week.
He made fun of me for not knowing how to play the game, and I still won.
Well, the game's not over yet, Crumbs.
Well, I won this week.
No, there's no week-to-week winner. It's a split-long thing.
Then why do we keep making fun of each other for doing poorly?
Because that's what we do. Because week to week, it still feeds into your end result. All right, let's see if these align with your predictions for the day.
You're predicting against your own stock.
You may notice Skara's name on the list. We'll see how Skara feels about these predictions as he'll be joining us on the analyst desk after each game today. And so, he does agree with the both of you, with TSM coming out on top. It's a tough day of games, I think, to predict to some degree. Second one, some disagreement as Crumbs goes for CLG, taking the top spot.
That's right.
Away from Team Liquid.
That's the stock he's betting against.
It doesn't matter. I can separate multiple things.
Yes, you can.
But I'm putting my faith on Professor Wiggums here. Wiggly is just crushing in the jungler right now. Seriously, this guy is doing so well. Brought out the Silas. I have so much more confidence in him being able to just out-jungle right now. And then because of that, I think CLG is just going to ride all the way. And TL typically, it's kind of a mixy-matchy, whether they crush it or whether they just falter.
They can also be slow to new patches. It can be interesting.
All right, well, before we get over to the casters, I want to take a look at win conditions for this first game of the day. Mark, TSM, what do you got?
I got something a little different. I say play fast like you have been doing, but draft slower. You're playing Clutch, who is the king of the weird stuff right now in North America, but they're not great at it. So if they want to play this Alawi top or Kiana mid or whatever stuff that they think they can get, let them do it and take something with a little bit more stability, more similar to their first game of last week than their second one, where they were doing all these weird picks trying to beat CLG. I think, if they want to play Corki again, it's boring, but it's good, and you can still play aggressive. You don't need to sit mid. You can take the package and go bot lane and stuff. So draft slow, but play fast.
Well, based on everything that Crumbs has said in the last half hour, I have a feeling I know what these win conditions are going to be, but why don't you hit me with clutches?
It's very obvious right now. 9-13, new patch. Your win condition is pick 2 champions right now. Red side, Kiana, Silas, first rotation. You're gonna win the game.
Bam, bam.
It's that easy.
Bam,
I'm
bam.
not kidding. That's how I used to play it. That's when we won, until our champions got nerfed, and then you find the new ones, and then you keep doing it. You find broken champions, you pick them, you win, you do it again. Fnatic just lost their first game because they went up against Kiana. It's a no-brainer.
All right, so if Fnatic can lose to Kiana, so can TSM.
Exactly.
What you're saying. Fair enough.
If Fnatic can lose, anyone can.
Anyone can lose. Well, with that, we're going to toss it out to the battle arena to get ourselves into the first game of the day.